Hello, hi guys. My name is Arjun. I am from India, and yes, so I am starting this new channel here with me. I mean, it's on my name, of course. It's a tester video. So, what I'm here about and why I'm starting this new video is because I love Manchester United, and I think more of my videos, which are gonna come later on, and now that I'm starting this journey, is gonna be solely based upon my favorite club in football, and that is Manchester United. Yeah, you guys know that Manchester United has been a heart of every Indian almost, right? I mean, it is one of the biggest boards in the history of football in the world. I mean, if you talk about the Galacticos and Barcelona, Madrid, Manchester United, we've all been there, right? But my agenda, or maybe it's not agenda, it's actually an opinion, right? Uh, about my favorite club, which has been not doing so well over the past 6 years, and it concerns me. The reason why I say that is because I want to put my views out there being a normal fan. And you know what, if the channel grows, we can talk about a lot of things that you also want to share, and maybe we can put some live calls as well. Moving on, I want to talk about Manchester United. We know the kind of history the club has. We know that it has been there for the past, 100 plus years now. I mean, 1898 is the club when it started. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yes, I am a diehard fan. Even if I said the number of the establishment incorrectly, I love Newton Heath as much as you guys do, and I love Manchester United. Obviously, my best player when it comes to Manchester United, for me, as an opinion, is Paul Scholes. I mean, I would like to know your opinion in my comments down there. You can put your opinion on who your favorite player was in Manchester United. But for me, Paul Scholes is possibly one of the best dynamic midfielders out there. Yeah. Why I say that? Because he started his career as a striker. I mean, he used to play just behind Van Nistelrooy back in the days when I started watching football and started understanding the game, while we were all busy watching India win the World Cup, right? But then it didn't happen, of course, that's the case. But then why I like Paul Scholes was because the guy actually developed as a midfield player. That guy was a pass master. He was the midfield maestro, right? He could just kind of make passes. He could take those long range shots, which I personally became a fan about because he was a tracer bullet. Yeah. And Paul Scholes was a leader, right? I mean, it's the class of '92. If you talk about Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes and Gary Neville, they're all coming up in from the youth setup. But then, if you take back at the history, I've seen Paul Scholes dominate players in Champions League finals, Premier League. I mean, you would talk about a guy coming in, he would just knuckle him up and he would just smash him all over the place. So Paul Scholes, for me, one of the best players, obviously because I like his traits, and I think even today, we don't have an aggressive midfield if we talk about the current lineup of Manchester United. One of the few things that I want to address here is that whatever I'm going to say is purely my opinion. And, to make this channel interactive, to make this about you, this has to be your opinion as well. And you can put your comments in the live section as well. Also, if you like the channel, you can hit subscribe. You can like and you can watch, you can share wherever you want, right? Okay, so moving on. So now that I've addressed who my favorite player was in Manchester United, I just want to tell you something that I, as a fan, having studied a lot of sports, I've had interest in cricket. I've had interest in tennis, table tennis. I've played under 16 for Delhi as well when it comes to cricket. But you know what? There's a heart of a footballer inside Indians now, more than cricket, because I don't really enjoy cricket much. Why? Because when things get stale, you see 11 players running around the single ball. I mean, I know it does not make sense. Same with football, yes, but then again, it's just something about football that speaks the language of the world. Yeah. So what I really wanted to address about is that the current situation with the Manchester United team is that we were there, okay? Now we are here, and now soon we're not gonna be here, right? So uh, that is exactly one of my problems, and I just want to address you a few things. If you talk about the latest transfer window that we just had currently, uh, what really breaks my heart was that there were talks of Bruno Fernandes coming in the squad, and what really disappoints me is that the board is owned by bankers sitting in America, and they don't give a shit about the football club. Mind my language, but it's really frustrating. I mean, you talk about a club that has dominated the English football since Alex Ferguson came, and obviously the Munich disaster team was also one of the legends. I personally love Dennis Law. I think he was a fantastic player, but if I talk about the current team, the situation is that, I mean, there was a time when Cristiano Ronaldo took a transfer to Real Madrid back in 2009, and Alex Ferguson was like, okay, I'm gonna bring Van Persie. I'm gonna win the league without Ronaldo, right? I mean, he obviously had a chase with Man City, but then again, I think we had a strong team back then, and it was all because Alex Ferguson has its way of reaching out the message to the board, right? Wherein when Ferguson retired, and David Moyes came in, he was a clown. Van Gaal came, and then you had now Mourinho, and then now all you got is Solskjaer. My problem here is that we're changing managers. In 6 years, we've got bloody 4 managers, right? The problem here is that we were a kind of a football club under Ferguson who had fast, tenacious, creative players, right? I mean, you see Cristiano Ronaldo and Ryan Giggs on the wings. You had Nani, you had Paul Scholes, and you had Roy Keane. And then obviously you had Vidic and Van der Sar at the back, and all these leaders that were there in the club. And you had the powerhouses in the defensive side of the field, right? If I talk about the frontmost forward players, we had a mix of players. We had players who had power and pace, right? The problem now is that we're bringing in subpar quality players. We're trying to kind of go on the profit through sponsorships, and that is having Adidas as our sponsor. But the problem here is that now that the board does not understand what this club is about, I'm probably sure about that, because I as a fan has waited almost 6 years now for the success to come by, and I was personally shocked, and I do agree with Mourinho's comments that he said that it's his best achievement to reach second place in the Premier League with the kind of team he has. And mind it had Fellaini as a part of his plans, and what a joke he was for the past 4 years in the club. I mean, a kind of player, if Fellaini and Ashley Young, they survive for such a long time in the club, you can imagine what kind of state we are in as a club, right? So coming back to what I was saying is that when we talk about the current set of players, we've got Fred, who we bought for 50 million in the midfield, and who we don't play anymore. And I don't know why we are not playing him at all, and we're choosing Matic. I mean, Matic, the kind of player who would be running donkey asses, towards the goal, and he can't have a bloody tackle coming in. I don't know why Fred, who's someone's coming from Shakhtar Donetsk, and we bought him for 50 million, who's tenacious, who's fast, who did make a couple of mistakes, I know, but then he wasn't as bad as Matic, and I completely don't understand why don't we play him. We talk about the mistakes all of these years in the form of Lukaku. We have Alexis Sanchez. We've had players going out such as Ander Herrera, and I personally felt that we did a great job signing in Eric Bailey, and I thought when he signed in, he was a beast, right? I mean, now unfortunately, yes, we have Harry Maguire coming in this summer, but I think along with Lindelof, I personally thought that Eric Bailly at the back was better than Victor Lindelof, and for me he was the second choice centre back for me. But he's been doing very well, and he obviously now understands the club. He wants to play for the club, just like Ander Herrera did, and we let his contract expire, of course. But then again, the problem with United nowadays is that we're bringing in players, and we have this mindset of playing defensive football, not attacking. I mean, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer actually wants to do that, but I can see that the quality is not there in the team. Okay, now if the quality is not there in the team, just imagine what can you do with those players, and what can any manager, may that be Pep Guardiola, giving this set of players, he'll be Fraudiola, right? With the kind of players we have in the team, I think we are kind of still the park the bus kind of a team, with Jose Mourinho, what he left with his legacy. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is probably obviously taking out a lot of bad players that we have in the past, and I appreciate that from his end. And if he's planning to kind of bring in new talent, promote the youth, like he just started playing Mason Greenwood in the last match, and we've had coming in from the youth setup, McTominay, he's playing that. He does imbibe a lot of trust in him, but I mean, does that solve the problem? I don't think so. I mean, when we talk about a lot of players coming in for the club, I mean, Danny James is a perfect example that, from Arsenal, if you look at that, we brought Danny James for 15 million, scored 3 goals in 4 matches, right? And we've got Nicolas Pepe coming in for almost about 70 million, I guess, 60, 70, correct me if I'm wrong, scored 0 goals for Arsenal, right? Yes, there are glimpses of team improving here and there, but the problem remains that our midfield is not creative enough, right? We've got a bunch of lads who are tall, they're slow. I mean, Pogba, I don't think he's going to give his best in a club like Manchester United in the current state. Had it been a well-established team such as Juventus, I think Paul Pogba has players who can surround him in Juventus team and who can give him passes, which is why he did so well at Juventus and became such a football star. But if you talk about this current set of players, he has been playing it for the past 2 years since he came in 2016. What kind of players? I mean, Fellaini, you had Ander Herrera. Okay, he had class, but he was inconsistent. You had Matic. So Pogba is the kind of a player who plays on the left side of the midfield, and we rightly know that because he's someone who does not want to sit back. He's a box-to-box midfielder, right? He wants to go forward, but you've got players coming in from the left wing, which is his players, and we know. I mean, what I observed personally was a lot of left wingers who actually play aside Pogba, such as Rashford or Sanchez. All these players have been cutting him off, which has to give him the opportunity to sit back and just give process and be creative to the strikers. But the problem remains is that you don't have a creative midfielder up front. You've got Paul Pogba sitting back along with the donkey Matic, and then you've got McTominay who's trying to go forward, which is not in him. I mean, he's just he's coming in from the youth setup. You cannot expect him to play like Roy Keane back in the days, right? You need to give him time, I agree, but for the time being, so McTominay is a short-term investment, right? Roy Keane, players like him, and we need a short-term fix as well. Let the youth players learn something from him. I mean, for example, bringing in Zlatan Ibrahimovic, coming to the club was a great exposure for someone like Marcus Rashford, and you've got Mason Greenwood. He could have learned something from him. So these are the kind of examples that you need to have for a short-term fix that could help these youth players grow. I mean, playing them 80 minutes, 90 minutes would not help them grow because ultimately they're playing around shit players, right? I mean, you've got Liverpool and Man City coming in and actually thrashing teams all over the Premier League. You see Liverpool already 9 points up the top this season. and United is not even looking to finish in the mid-table, right? So that's my concern. So the kind of choices of players that we select in the club is something which is very critical for our club to go ahead. Uh, so, I mean, what I was happy about is we let Lukaku go and we're trying to promote something which is pace. That's what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants. But the board is not backing him. And when the board is not going to back him, I mean, what do you expect? You bring in a defensive midfielder, okay, 80 million. And then you had 15 million in Danny James. And, you're bringing in, players like Danny James, who's also relatively very young. You cannot expect him to perform every week. I would personally not go ahead and promote Danny James every game because he's an impact player. He's a kind of a player who would come, after 60, 70 minutes, we're one down and he comes in and just thrashes the ball, passes the ball and creates chances, right? We've got Rashford as a striker. I mean, just imagine. There was a time when we had strikers such as Zlatan, we had Van Nistelrooy, Andy Cole. These are the sort of players I've grown up watching, right? I mean, wingers with the class of Beckham, and you had Ronaldo after him. Now we've got what? I mean, we've got a player who we probably don't even know whether he's a winger or a striker, right? So I completely fail to understand what the plans are inside the dressing room and what is there inside the boardroom that is happening, because this is absolutely concerning. I just felt that my first video about this club is something that I would like to address, and I would obviously like to hear your opinions as well when it comes to the club, right? And if you feel that I am wrong somewhere, do let me know, because it's an opinion and that's what I want. But I personally feel that having changed 4 managers in the past 6 years now, it's not a good sign. We're not Chelsea. We're not some club that just recently grew with oil money like Manchester United, or Manchester City. We are Manchester United. We've got a history. We were the only team who recovered from the Munich tragedy, right? You know how much time it takes to rebuild that team, and we are Manchester United, and which is why, with the kind of history and with the kind of marketing we have all over the world, and with the kind of business that we're running through Adidas and sponsorships, and with the kind of quality players that we have, with the kind of history that we've achieved, that is why we love Manchester United. And in a country like India, where football wasn't so prominent, if you talk about 10 years back, everyone knew Manchester United. I mean, that's what we've grown up about, and it's not only about me following something which is common. It's also about me researching it, about the history, the kind of mentality, and the kind of performances this club has had, and the kind of story it brings along all over these years through fans and everything. I think it touched my heart, and that is why I started following Manchester United, and that's something that I'm going to be absolutely honest about. And I'm also absolutely honest about that I currently hate watching Liverpool fans chanting its name all over Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, and United has no answers to it. I mean, come on, man. I mean, Liverpool, what, 18 titles, and we're under 20. You're gonna make it 19 this year's, man. So, I mean, also, Gary Neville, legends of the club, talking about the club as of, it is not kind of a big deal about it. We need to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer time. I think, dude, we've lost time. We've lost time, and we need to act really quickly, because if you're gonna bring in players of the age of Danny James, you're only putting your club into pressure. I mean, if someone like Mason Greenwood would say that, hey, I'm from the academy, and you're bringing in a talent from Danny James who's from Swansea, and of the same age and of the same age group, and players like Angel Gomez or Mason Greenwood, and I was kind of reading a couple of articles about Tahith Chong as well. that Solskjaer is planning to give him some sort of game time as well. But for me, they are all wingers as well, and Mason Greenwood is a striker. They would actually think about it that, I'm from the youth setup and Danny James is from Swansea and you're giving him more game time. I think I would have performed better, right? I'm not saying that Danny James is not a quality player. I'm just saying that, instead of buying ship players such as Alexis Sanchez and paying him $400,000 a week on wages, why not bring someone who has actually performed in the Premier League, or at least give him a chance? Years ago, I also read about the Mourinho wanting Perisic from Inter Milan for, 30-40 million, and Milan went up asking 50-55, and the board wouldn't pay that extra 15 million. Dude, come on. You're the richest club in the world, and my heart sinks to say that I've got owners in the form of Glazers sitting in America who don't know anything about football. Okay, so I just feel that the kind of players that we're buying and the investment that we're making, and it's not even about what we're making. It's about we're actually not improving the areas that we need to. I mean, the kind of defense, if you talk about, if one player gets injured, for example, Luke Shaw getting injured now, who are we playing? We're playing Ashley Young, okay? Ashley Young, who's a made winger come left back, right? He used to play for Aston Villa, man. I don't know what Ferguson saw when he bought Ashley Young, but I was kind of shocked that you're bringing Ashley Young as a replacement of Ronaldo when he left the club. And I was like, okay, maybe he has something, but over the years, I did not see Ashley Young do anything in that jersey, right? I personally, as a fan, and I'm pretty sure you guys would agree that you guys would want someone who plays hard out for this club, right? And, we Indians, and, a lot of supporters from Manchester United all over the world, we why do we love this club? Because we all are feeling the same thing about our club, and our club is in danger with the kind of investment that we're making. So, bringing in powerhouses players, who would run at the pace of a turtle, and you've got City and Liverpool running with the pace of Sané and Mane. You've got Firmino, and you've got Mohamed Salah, coming in, and City players. They are fast. They would dominate us. I mean, they might not be good in the air like our players, but they're fast, and they play end-to-end football. They play attacking football. We all are aware what Pep Guardiola has been doing through Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and now City. He will buy players, and he will only sign for the club who has money to offer. You cannot expect a team like Manchester United to hire a player like Guardiola because the Glazers won't put out the money, right? So, I don't know, man. The January transfer window now coming in with the club. I feel we're not going to make any signings. We're going to have a couple of rumors with the kind of transfer window we've been expecting over the years. In January, we cannot expect, a Bruno Fernandes from Lisbon, or Dybala, who was also in the talks this summer. You cannot have these kind of deals in January because this is midway season. And obviously, if you look about it, why would Dybala or Gareth Bale or any major player in the world would want to come to United and help us win the Europa League, right? Where we're not able to finish mid-table already. And I'm sorry, I know we've only been to 3 games, but I've been watching Manchester United over the years. I didn't know where this club is going now. And I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is trying his best, but the boards are not. They're not just backing him. They're not. I mean, they're not giving him money. They're like, oh, we're gonna have the money, but you know what? We're gonna invest it in the baseball league now. Oh, Manchester United, it's okay. We're getting the money. We've got Paul Pogba. We'll have Adidas, and every news media channel wants to talk about Manchester United, so their score is TRP. But no, No, I mean, that's not what Manchester United is all about. I mean, the commercial aspect of it is different. You've got football. Commercials are coming in because of the kind of football we are known for. Glazers, this is not a club which is your baby and you're gonna throw once you've pregnated a woman just for one night. Right? I mean, you cannot expect us to just sit back. I will go into the market and buy a Manchester United jersey for like, dude, $100 or something, 4,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees in Indian currency. No, that's not what we're about. We're the kind of club who's gone up watching this club and loved it to the heart. So anyways guys, this is my first video. I hope you like it. If you don't, if there's something that you would like me to change about it, I know the black background is kind of, you know, blur, but I mean, it's my first video. Your support, your comments, anything good or bad, please hit the like button. Do comment if you like the video. If you want me to keep it short, if you want it to be too long, I'll follow it for you. But that's it for tonight, and we're gonna bring in more updates, and I believe I have a lot of plans for this channel as well. I am gonna be doing some live streams about Manchester United match days as well. I'm just gonna put in my opinion for you guys, you know, what I thought about the match, what I think we can do better, and slowly we are gonna grow the numbers and we're gonna talk about it. And because you know what, United has been rich because of us. That's our money. We're not someone who just bought what the club for some millions from Etihad or the oil money that other cities have done in London or in the UK, such as Manchester City. But we want to be like something what Liverpool has been doing. They've not brought big players, they've got accurate signings, right? So we want to be that club. But you know what, this is how the channel will grow. This is how you guys are going to help me grow it, and I'm going to put your voices out there, right? How I'm going to do that, I've got a lot of plans, trust me about that. So I hope you like the videos, and smash a like if you like it, and signing off. Take care. Bye bye.